Hey, I'm Nick Bovey, and I'm going to be doing a extensive review on the Halo Reach Legendary Edition. There are a lot of reviews on YouTube they were shorter and they didn't quite go into detail. I want this review to go really in depth. It'll probably be multiple segments of 10 minutes each, and I just really wanted to go into detail as to why you would want this collector's edition of this game. It's a really good edition to start off. I like it a lot. There's a lot more detail to it than meets the eye when you first get it. When I first bought it, and I bought it for $130 when it was, right after it came out, I wasn't quite sold as to how cool it was. But now I spent a while looking at it, looking at each of the papers, and it really is an incredible edition that, for right now, I believe it's $80 at GameStop, which would be a great steal if you can go pick it up. It's great for Halo 3 fans. Even if you're one of those people that's not really into Halo Reach, I would recommend it because the Spartans on the statue are incredible. The detail that's put into them is amazing, and I would recommend. I would probably buy the statue by itself for over $100 because the detail on them is amazing, and the fact that you get 5 different Spartans is really cool. I know that there's a lot of people that don't really like Halo Reach, and Halo Reach, the game itself. This is not a review on Halo Reach. It's a review on specifically the Legendary Edition and the components that go into the Legendary Edition. People that have done this review have said, they kind of go through it and they say that, oh, here's a paper, here's another paper, here's a paper, here's the journal, here's the statue, this statue has some detail, looks good, cool, end the review. I want to go into detail on each of the papers. I'm telling you, this is a long review, and I just want to talk about all the things that I liked about it, things that I didn't really like about it, and yeah, it should be pretty cool. To start off, I'm going to do the papers, so this is probably a pretty long segment, but the first couple of papers you get in the box is the whatever you want to say, the model paper, I guess, that talks about, oh, you're in possession of the most complete and accurate collection to date, and all that. And then you also get this thing, which at first glance looks like just a little instruction pamphlet on how to put the thing together. When you look at it, it's just kind of, it looks pretty straightforward instructions, but it's cool because on the front of it, it says Big M Studio, and it says, established in 2553, Big M Studio is a renowned purveyor of fine collectibles and replicas, shipping to more than 20 systems. So it's not like Bungie just kind of threw in a pamphlet on how to put it together that was made by McFarlane or something. They actually took the time to create a pamphlet that is it's more like it's from the future, I guess. And I think the fact that they paid attention to that detail is really cool. One thing that I noticed on this that kind of stood out to me, all over it, it's real legit, except for obviously they want to have a help site for people, so they do put, for help, visit www.xbox.com/HaloReach. That's because it was difficult in some areas to put together, because I'd kind of tried. It was hard to put together, but the final product was really cool. But the cool thing about this was that right underneath the weapons page here, right at the bottom, I don't know if you can see that, very bottom here, it says, weapons are for display purposes only. They do not contain live rounds. And I read that before I even realized that this was from the future, kind of a futuristic thing. And I thought, oh wow, who would be stupid enough to think that? But then I realized that since it is from the future, the action figures at that time in the future are probably more realistic, and they probably do have action figures with guns that do fire. So I think that's kind of what Bungie was kind of poking fun at, is, you know, trying to make it look like it's from the future, because in the future people need to know that, you know, this isn't going to be something that actually shoots with guns. But I'll go into the actual review of the statue at the very end of this whole thing. Then you get this cousin paper, and it's pretty cool. Though, and I'm going to go into my first gripe with this entire set. The writing is very printed looking. It's supposed to look like handwriting, but it looks very much like it's been printed on there, as there are very little, I mean, there's no mess ups. The letters all look exactly the same. It certainly does try to look like handwriting, but it really does not. I mean, that's the only thing that kind of takes away from the authenticity, I guess, of this. But the cool thing is, you know, you get this note, and then on the back of it, they made sure of putting kind of a, it's hard to see, but there's the, you know, the naval symbol on there, and also there's some random just gibberish, and then it says Colonial Administration Authority on the top, and this was so that it would look like it's a authentic paper. You know, high quality. This paper is very glossy, and most of the papers in this are very paper. I mean, this is kind of a glossed over paper. Most of them are very much just like paper. But the next thing I'm going to open is the box here, because this is where I just kind of put all the papers. This is a really cool box. It's got a gloss finish on it. And it's supposed to look like a storage unit that you would hold data, maybe. I don't know. It kind of goes for like a. It's got all this like circuitry printed around, and I almost see it going into like a big, you know, hard drive, like the data things they had in Star Wars, like one of those. But it is a drawer. It has a little handle here that pulls out, revealing another gloss covered box. There's no circuitry or anything on the inside. It's just a black gloss on the inside. But the outside looks really cool. On the back here, it has little details here. It says the item is an archive module. Unit weight 2.344 pounds, which I'm sure that's very true, because when I got it, you know, it had just about that weight. And there's, you know, just the detail on this is pretty good. You know, there's a little gold kind of circuit thing up here, and it's a cool thing to have on your shelf. It looks really, really cool. But then I'm gonna look at the papers here. The game case itself, I'm sure if you're watching this, you've watched tons of others showing the game case. It's a normal you know, game case. It's just black, nothing special about it. It says Halo Reach on it. Really nothing special about it. Now I'm going to start with the top paper I have here. I'm sure it's not the top paper when I got it, but it's a For Your Comfort, like hotel. I think it came from a hotel or something. In fact, I know it came from a hotel, because you have the Havadi Good One, which I don't know if it's like Good One, like Good One. I don't know if that's an Easter egg or something. Honestly, don't know. But on the back here, there's strategies written. The writing on this actually looks pretty good. Still has a printed look to it, but it looks pretty cool. On this side, I like how they put a coffee stain on there. I'm big into detail on these things, so for them to put little stains and everything, I think that's really cool, and it adds to the authentic feel of the stuff. But this is just, you know, paper with the someone was writing a strategy on it, and I think that's really cool. And I've actually thought, because they give you a lot of papers, I've thought about getting a big cork board and making a kind of Halo Reach compilation of all the different papers they give you. But next up, I have this Office of Naval Intelligence paper, and these papers, there's a couple of them. These are just basic, nothing too special about them. They look like they were just kind of printed out. And besides, you know, all these papers have this very cool, I don't think it's actually like a water mark, but it looks like one. It's a very faint naval outline kind of thing there, and you can't really see it on the camera, I'm sure. But it's right in the middle, and it's a ring that makes up, and then the triangle and the circle in the middle. But there's different things that kind of all these news articles were and supposed to kind of lead up to the events of what actually happens in Halo Reach. And like I said, there's a couple of them. There's another one here. This one doesn't have anything on the back. It's right on the back, except for and this is once again details. There's a smudge here. There's a couple smudges, and I have not put anything like on these. I've taken really good care of them, and so the smudges are really, the fact that they put stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's really cool that they did that. Next up, I've got the. Oh no, this is. I said earlier I had the paper that said you are now in possession of the most complete. This is the note you get at the very beginning when you open it up. It says, I'll read it out to you. It's kind of a long thing. You are now in possession of the most complete and accurate account that anyone has ever been able to assemble of Spec War Group 3 Noble's actions during the final weeks before the Covenant glassed Reach. I suspect your interest in all of this has something to do with your involvement in Operation White Glove. And yes, I overpronounced the H in white. I usually don't do that, but